30 days from bankruptcy. That was Nvidia in 1997. Not a garage startup, a company that had already shipped products, hired engineers, and signed a deal with Sega. 30 days. Jensen Huang turned that near-death moment into a motto the company still repeats internally today. And the thing that saved them wasn't genius. It was a competitor's mercy. We'll get to that. But first, how does a company 30 days from death become worth $4 trillion? Briefly, the most valuable company in human history. This video covers the full arc, from a near-bankrupt chip startup to the engine powering the entire AI revolution. We'll get to the one software decision in 2006 that built a moat no competitor has cracked in 20 years, the family feud at the heart of the chip wars, and the real bottleneck slowing down AI that nobody talks about. If stories like this are your thing, hit like. It tells me to keep making them. Now let's go back to a Denny's diner in San Jose. 1993. 3 engineers, Jensen Huang, Chris Malachowski, and Curtis Preem, sit down at a Denny's in San Jose and decide to start a chip company. Before they had a name, they labeled every computer file NV, short for next version. When it came time to incorporate, they searched the dictionary for words containing those 2 letters and found Nvidia, Latin for envy. The goal? Make every competitor envious. That one word became the name, the logo, the green eye. But building a company on envy? That almost got them killed in 4 years flat. By 1997, Nvidia had bet the entire company on a graphics chip for the Sega Dreamcast. Then Jensen realized the architecture was fundamentally broken. It would never work. He did something almost unheard of in business. He called Sega and admitted it. Told them the project would fail. Sega's CEO, Shoichiro Irimajiri, could have sued Nvidia into the ground. Instead, he paid the full development contract anyway. That single act of corporate grace kept the lights on, just long enough for Jensen to build the Riva 128, the chip that put Nvidia on the map. The 30-day clock was still ticking, but now they had a chance. Here's a misconception worth killing early. GPUs were not designed for artificial intelligence. They were built for one thing: pushing pixels in video games. A GPU renders 3D shadows by running millions of simple math operations simultaneously. Parallel matrix multiplication. And it turns out that exact same math is what a neural network uses to learn. The weights, the biases, the training loops, all matrix math. It was a pure accident of computer science. The hardware built to render a dragon in a dungeon turned out to be the perfect engine for teaching a machine to think. But the hardware alone was never the real weapon. That came in 2006. 2006. Jensen makes the decision that really built the empire. Nvidia releases CUDA, a programming platform that lets any developer use GPU parallel processing without understanding a single line of graphics code. Researchers, universities, AI labs all start writing machine learning code in CUDA. Over 2 decades, more than 5 million developers write millions of lines of code, and every line of it runs only on Nvidia hardware. Think of it this way. The GPU is the razor. CUDA is the razor blade. And once you've built your entire research career on those blades, switching brands isn't just inconvenient, it's career-ending. That's the moat, not the chip, the code. For most of its life, Nvidia was a gaming company. Solid, profitable, but niche. Then generative AI hits. The revenue chart looks like a cliff face. Annual revenue crosses $215 billion. The data center business, essentially zero a decade ago, becomes the entire company. Jensen said it plainly on the earnings call. Blackwell sales are off the charts, cloud GPUs are sold out, and compute demand keeps accelerating. Nvidia's market cap crosses $4 trillion, making it briefly the most valuable company in human history. That crown attracted some very dangerous enemies, starting with one Jensen knows personally. To understand Nvidia, you have to understand Jensen Huang. He still runs the company he co-founded over 30 years ago, rare for any tech titan. He wears a leather jacket on stage instead of a suit. He once promised his staff that if Nvidia's stock ever crossed $100 a share, he'd get a tattoo. The stock crossed it. He fulfilled the promise. The company's tribal claw logo permanently on his arm. And that motto from 1997? Our company is 30 days from going out of business. They still say it internally today. Not as history, as a warning. Now for the rivalry that reads like a TV drama. The single greatest merchant threat to Nvidia's AI chip monopoly is AMD, led by CEO Dr. Lisa Su. Her Instinct MI300X and MI355X accelerators target the same market, offer more memory capacity, and undercut Nvidia's pricing by 15 to 40%. That alone makes for a great business story. But here's the detail that makes it almost fictional. Lisa Su is Jensen Huang's first cousin once removed. The trillion-dollar chip war is, at its core, a family dispute. And Lisa isn't the only threat Jensen has to worry about. Google, Amazon, Microsoft, Meta. These are Nvidia's biggest customers, and its most dangerous long-term threat. Each one is pouring tens of billions into building their own custom AI chips. Google has its TPU, Amazon has Trainium, Microsoft has Maya. They're not doing this because they love engineering challenges. They're doing it to escape crippling vendor lock-in and slash capital expenditure. If the hyperscalers succeed, they stop buying Nvidia hardware altogether. The question is whether they can build chips good enough, fast enough, before Nvidia's next generation makes the performance gap even wider. Then there are the startups attacking from a completely different angle. Remember how GPUs carry all that legacy graphics overhead? Thread schedulers, complex caches, that does nothing during pure AI inference? Cerebras built a chip the size of a dinner plate, a wafer-scale engine that bypasses memory bottlenecks entirely. Groq built something called an LPU, a language processing unit, using fast SRAM memory, stripped of all graphics legacy, optimized exclusively for ultra-low latency, real-time inference. These aren't toys. They're surgical strikes at the exact architectural weaknesses Nvidia has never had to fix. Because until now, no one could afford to. Here's a misconception almost everyone gets wrong. The AI bottleneck isn't a shortage of GPUs, it's what surrounds the GPU. A modern AI accelerator needs data fed into its cores almost instantly. That requires stacking memory dies vertically and connecting them to the processor using microscopic connections on a specialized packaging line called CoWoS, made by TSMC. The memory itself, called high-bandwidth memory, comes from SK Hynix and Samsung. If the memory stack can't keep pace, the $30,000 GPU chip just sits there, idle. Entering 2026, two Asian memory suppliers are quietly dictating the pace of the entire AI revolution. Nvidia doesn't wait for threats to materialize. They run at a pace that makes competitors dizzy. Blackwell shipped and immediately sold out. Jensen confirmed over 3 million units shipped. Now Rubin is coming in 2026, followed by Rubin after that. Each generation doesn't just improve performance. It bakes deeper into the CUDA software stack, widening the ecosystem gap further. By the time a competitor finishes reverse engineering Blackwell, Nvidia is already 2 generations ahead. It's a treadmill that never slows down. But raw speed isn't the only thing Jensen is building toward. Jensen calls it the next industrial revolution, not powered by steam, electricity, or oil, but by intelligence itself. And Nvidia isn't just selling chips for that revolution. Through its Omniverse platform, they're building something called Earth 2, a real-time, ultra-high-fidelity digital twin of the entire planet. The goal is to simulate climate change, predict extreme weather, and test industrial responses before anything is deployed in the physical world. A company that started with a file folder labeled NV is now trying to simulate the planet. That's either the most ambitious thing in tech history or the most audacious. Possibly both. So, what actually makes Nvidia unbeatable, for now? It isn't the fastest chip. Faster chips will come. It's the lock-in. 5 million developers. 20 years of CUDA code. Universities teaching machine learning exclusively on Nvidia hardware. AMD's ROCm software stack exists, but it's younger and less mature. Apple's Metal framework sits entirely outside the CUDA ecosystem. Serious researchers can't fine-tune complex models on it without hitting walls. Cerebras and Groq are fast but narrow. The hyperscalers are building alternatives, but slowly. Nvidia doesn't need to win every battle. They just need the switching cost to stay higher than the pain of staying. And right now, it absolutely is. A company 30 days from bankruptcy in 1997, saved by a competitor's mercy, built its empire not on the fastest chip, but on a programming language no one can escape. Jensen Huang got the tattoo. Lisa Su is gunning for the throne. And somewhere in a data center right now, a Blackwell GPU is running the AI model you used this morning. The next industrial revolution isn't coming. It's already here, and Nvidia wrote the operating system for it. If you want more breakdowns like this, subscribe. That's how you catch the next one.